Welcome all of you to the first episode of the podcast. Thinking of naming it Creator Journals or something on that line, but I'm not really sure yet. Let me know what you think down in the comments. So, as for what this podcast is going to be about, you can expect it to kind of be the story behind kind of the upcoming of certain creators, whoever really wants to be on the show. And I'd like to introduce my first feature, Elliot Choy. So, thanks for coming on the episode, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for having
First
me.
feature.
Yeah.
So these are some crazy stats that I saw. 1.5 million views in around a month, only 9 videos, 45,000 subscribers, and 8.6K followers on Instagram. That's just mind-blowing for 9 videos. So kind of want to start off on the first question. From your 9 videos, which do you think kind of took off the most?
Yeah, so when I was first kind of relaunching my channel and I came out with that day in the life video, I
Hmm.
knew that it would get a good amount of views because the day in the life videos, especially for college campuses, just tend to do really well. And the main reason I decided to make that video was because I didn't really see a really super popular video, day in the
Yeah,
life
for sure.
at my college. And so I knew there was an opportunity there. Also, I love making videos, so I really wanted to make a video that was like entertaining, whether it be like the editing or the cuts. So like in my mind, I would hit like 100,000 views at least with that day in the life video. But then like yeah, it did a lot better than expected. I think it's around a little under 500,000 views right now, which is
Hmm.
insane. But
Yeah.
so that video was definitely like what gave me the traction to um, do well on my other videos. That being said, my second video, which was why I wake up at 5 a.m. in college, I think
Hmm.
it's doing better than my day in the life video with over 500,000 views, close to 600K, I think, right now.
Hmm.
But of course, that wouldn't have been possible without the traffic from the day in the life video because that's very targeted. Like there's a lot of students who are looking for that type of content, whereas like the 5 a.m. video, there's not a lot of active demand for it. So
Hmm.
definitely that day in the life video gave me the traction that I needed to get some more momentum for the other videos.
Yeah, makes sense. You mentioned you were kind of relaunching your channel. I looked on your YouTube page and I saw that you've been on YouTube since 2011. So was it originally just like your own kind of videos, or did you have like a goal in mind?
Yeah, so I didn't even know that that channel has been around since 2011. That's pretty crazy, but that's probably just because I like watched YouTube videos back in the day
Hmm.
when I was in middle school or whatever. But yeah, I started making videos about a year ago. I basically
Okay.
made videos on like flipping and reselling, online arbitrage, which was basically my side hustle in college and in a little bit in high school. And so I made
Hmm.
videos on that last about a year ago, actually almost
Hmm.
exactly a year ago. And then I made like 10 of those videos, and then I stopped after a month. And then in August or so, I started making videos about Amazon, and
Hmm.
I made about 10 of those videos. Again, none of these videos had over 100 views, I'd say.
Hmm.
But I wanted to make those videos because at the time I was very passionate about those specific business models, and they're pretty specific value add. So like I thought I'd be able to target my audience pretty specifically. But then those didn't really do well. And then finally when I made like the day in the life video, kind of showing my college. Yeah, sorry. So with the Amazon FBA videos, I did that for about a month, and then I stopped. And then very recently, about a month or two ago, I started making those college and entrepreneurship videos, and those have been doing really well. So it definitely took like a few shots at it,
Hmm.
and it's a process for sure. But in the end, I'm really glad actually that things didn't go really well for me in the beginning because I love the type of content that I'm making right now, which is more just about what I'm passionate about, and it's a little bit more consistent in terms of the
Hmm.
videos that I'm making. So I'm really happy about the fact that I failed in hindsight. Of course, at the time, like I would have loved to have just grown rapidly, but in my mind, like those failures have really like helped me be in a great situation as of right now.
Hmm. Well, yeah, of course, hindsight's always 2020. What was kind of like your motivation to restart every time you kind of give up?
Yeah, so I think each time I started, it was with because I saw an opportunity. The first time
Hmm.
on eBay I saw, or with reselling and flipping, I saw the opportunity just being that there were a lot of people making those types of videos. With Amazon, same thing. I saw that there were a lot of people making those types of videos and doing well. And so that was mostly my motivation, the fact that there's an opportunity. And finally, with the day in the life, I knew that there was a gap in the market there, with there not being a super prevalent video from my school. Ultimately, my goal was to just to like inform prospective students of Vanderbilt. By the way, I go to Vanderbilt University in Nashville. That's what I did my day in the life video about. But yeah, my goal was to inform those prospective students. But then, yeah, I guess it reached a broader market because a broader audience, just because it was informing like high school students about the college life.
Yeah, that's why I clicked on it, and that's one of the ways I found your channel.
Yeah, that's
That's yeah.
definitely responsible for a lot of that early growth.
hmm So you know how some people kind of consider themselves maybe vloggers, maybe some people consider themselves pranksters. What
Sure.
kind of niche would you say you're in? Because I've seen videos like you made a hyperlapse tutorial, you made a day in the life, and recently you made a film, like a travel film, like the
Absolutely.
JR Ali style one, which was really cool. So what niche would you kind of consider yourself in? Or are you still figuring it out?
Yeah, so I would say if I really had to categorize myself, like the college and entrepreneurship niche. Uh,
hmm
but honestly, it's constantly evolving because me as a person, I'm constantly evolving. And I think the
hmm
YouTube channel is basically just a representation of who I am as a person. You know,
hmm
when I was really interested in reselling and flipping, I posted those videos. When I was really interested in Amazon FBA, I posted those videos. And so as time goes on, my passions and my interests tend to change because we're still young, we're still discovering
hmm
things, and so maybe eventually it'll start to settle down and find some really grounded concept that'll make my videos around. But as of right now, I'm still exploring in life, and so I think my YouTube channel is also just kind of in that exploratory phase. I'm trying different things, whether it be the tutorials or the cinematic videos or the vlogs. Like I'm just trying many different things right now because I'm interested in a lot of different things. So
hmm
yeah, and I think it's just a representation of who I am as a person.
Yeah, that makes sense. I had a few questions set aside, and you're like transitioning into them like perfectly. So the next question is, do you kind of see yourself making videos after uni, after you
Yeah,
graduated and everything?
yeah. So
Yeah.
I definitely do. I started off as a photographer
hmm
back in high school. I love cameras. I love all of that, the whole process. And now I'm really a big fan of videography, mostly because of the storytelling aspect.
hmm
That's the whole reason why we love listening to music or watching movies or watching TVs. That storytelling aspect is so powerful, not just in our generation, but since the beginning of time.
hmm
Stories have always been around, and I think to master that is such a valuable skill, and it's something that I would love to be able to do effectively. I love the chase of trying to succeed. So like with photography, I've always wanted to fulfill this vision of like being able to take this type of photo, and so
Yeah.
I think I kind of achieved my vision for it. But now with like videography, I'm setting my goals even higher, thinking about like um, being a really good storyteller, really mastering and honing down my skills. So
hmm
definitely like, whether it be I intentionally create content like I am right now or
hmm
just document, I think as I live my life, videography, sharing those ideas, sharing those stories is always going to be a big part of my life.
Uh-huh. So whose kind of stories do you like to follow yourself? Like who do you take inspiration from?
Yeah. So for videography, I would say Sam Colder is a huge inspiration for
hmm
cinematic sequences. He does a lot of travel videos. I watched a lot of Casey Neistat back in the day, and
Yeah.
he is an amazing storyteller as well, especially in that YouTube format. Um,
hmm
and then most recently, probably Matt Davella. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right, but he
Yeah.
does really powerful storytelling. Um,
Uh-huh.
whether it be storytelling through the cinematics and the music, or Casey's style of that raw, um, very genuine production, or Matt's extremely. I think Matt's content is very. Um, it's planned out. It's
Yeah.
made in a way that um, it's made to present a very clear storyline. I think
hmm
those three creators have been a huge inspiration. Peter McKinnon, videographer, also a huge inspiration. But Yeah, those guys are all extremely hardworking
Mhm.
storytellers and have done amazing on this platform because of that.
Mhm. It's funny you mentioned Matt Diavella. I was actually watching his video just now while I was waiting for you to get online, his last video.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you have to say for people who are kind of in the position you were in your previous like ventures on YouTube, who are like struggling to gain a following, or they like just are kind of running out of content to create?
Yeah, I am actually pretty deliberate in terms of the content that I do create.
Hmm.
I first look at similar channels to me, and I look
Hmm.
at what are some of their highest performing videos, and then I try to think about why those videos are performing well. Maybe it's because they're talking about the college process, like college application process, and they're adding a lot of value. Or just looking at those videos really helps me think about what types of videos I can make in order to serve my audience and provide the most value for my audience. And I think to think critically about that is really important. So a lot of people will make like vlogs when they're first starting out, but straight up, like no one cares about you. And it's not that no one
Hmm.
cares about you ever. It's just like when you're first starting out as a small creator, that's just the fact that if you don't have an audience, like no one necessarily is invested in your life. And so a vlog
Hmm.
is really adding that much value.
Yeah.
Said my first video was kind of like a vlog, but it was more showcasing what a student's life is in college. And so the value
Hmm.
add there is that perspective. And it's really important to think about how you're adding value to your viewer or your audience because ultimately that's business, that's content creation. It's all about um, that exchange, like exchange of attention for the value, whether it be entertainment value, informational value, or any of that. That's really what it boils down to, and so you have to think critically about how you're going to add value to your specific audience.
Wow, yeah, that definitely makes sense. I think vlogging has become extremely oversaturated, especially like in the last year or so. A lot of creators are like switching over from what they previously did and started doing more vlogs and things of that nature.
Yeah, and that's why I don't consider myself like a vlogger, even though I'll do an occasional vlog. To
Hmm.
make a vlog, I'm making sure that it's providing some kind of entertainment, whether it be through the editing or the cinematography. And I think that's super important to me because like if I'm just going to be recording my day, like I better be giving some kind of value, or else it's just like why should my audience even care? Of course, like when you become a larger creator with a larger audience, you can create more broad content that is centered around you as a person because over
Hmm.
time your audience develops that relationship, that viewer creator relationship. But in the beginning, and I'm still in the beginning phases, like even though I've grown rapidly and I've been fortunate enough to gain some traction, I've only been on YouTube for about a month, and so
Hmm.
really, like I'm still trying to build that audience relationship and trying to introduce myself really to the people who watch my videos still.
Yeah. Wow, these transitions are just amazing. Speaking of creator audience relationships, what kind of led you to start DMing and responding to DMs on fans? Because I know a lot of creators who are like, DM me if you want to chat and stuff. I'll DM them because like why not, right?
Yeah,
And just no response. So it's like, oh, okay then.
yeah.
So you're actually one of the first people other than like Elliot Abdel and a couple other people who have actually responded to DMs, and I just wanted to kind of ask like what goes through your mind for you to do that.
Yeah, so like you said, I respond to literally every single DM that I get, and it comes from two things. Number one, um, I was once a smaller creator with my photography Instagram page. I had
Hmm.
around like 2,000, 3,000 followers. I was just growing. Right now it's at 24,000, but that process took almost like 6 to 8 months. It took a long time. And so in the
Hmm.
beginning, like I would message those larger creators with 70, 80,000 followers on their Instagram page. I'd ask them for advice, maybe what gear they use or what editing tips they have. And a select few of them would reply. I like I wouldn't think too much of it if they didn't reply, but like I really just appreciated it a ton if those larger accounts and those with larger followings replied to me and gave me their advice, and that really stuck with me because to be able to do that for someone else, it's really just it's a blessing because not a lot of people have that opportunity, And so if I'm given that opportunity, again, this going back to pursuing opportunities that I've been given, if I've been given that opportunity to inspire someone, to help someone, then I'm definitely going to take that. And like a lot of my questions are related to like YouTube growth or related to making money online. And those are just some of the stuff that I've learned about already. And so to share
Hmm.
that advice is like my pleasure. Like literally, I get enjoyment out of it too. Like um, to see that someone applies something that I give advice about, and then that in their life, like it's probably one of the most rewarding things ever.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I see you've been talking about how you transitioned over from photography to videography and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
do you find when you're picking up new hobbies, you're kind of leaving behind the old ones? Like maybe you don't sell and flip stuff as much as you did before, or you don't go out with photos as much before.
Yeah, so that's like a debate that I have all of the time with myself. Do I stay consistent with something that I pursue and be persistent and go all the way and give it a few years, or do I just transition if I immediately feel like there's a better option out there? And I think when we're young, it's good to try as many different things as possible in a
Hmm.
short amount of time. That being said, like as you live your life, I think when you're passionate, truly passionate about something, it's important to push through when things get tough because that really determines who will succeed and who will fail in the long run. Um, and so far in my history, I think I've kind of dropped a lot of the things that I've lost my passion for. That being said, though, I don't think like I ever regretted doing anything because every
Hmm.
single experience taught me something. Um, my my eBay experience, selling on eBay, reselling, taught me about how to make money. It gave me confidence in my ability to make money. Um, FBA taught me about how hard it really is to truly run a business. My photography background really set me up for YouTube and having that background knowledge in videography. Sorry, not in videography, with cameras has
Hmm.
really helped me with videography. And all of that is just a compilation of the experiences I've had. And so um, even now I'm learning new things with YouTube. This isn't the end. I'll learn things from YouTube and I'll continue to grow and continue to apply things that I learned to new experiences that I pursue.
Hmm. So as of right now, are you kind of, as you said, trying to stay consistent with YouTube, or are you still like testing out the market for maybe different kinds of videos or maybe side hustles, things like that?
Yeah, I am still testing. Like I said, I only have like a few videos out right now, trying different types of content. That being said, if I know what goes well, I'm going to play to my strengths and double down on those videos. So like a lot of people are asking for those day in the life videos, and I don't want it to be too repetitive. But if I have a unique day that's different, so for example, today was the first day of my new semester, so I'm going to be
Hmm.
dropping a video soon on what it's like going to your first day of classes in college. And so that is adding some type of value in terms of a unique perspective. And so um, again, I'm still experimenting, but I I am doubling down, starting to double down on some of those concepts that I know will resonate with my audience.
Yeah, for sure. We're coming closer to the end. So you are kind of a lot of your videos are related to university and kind of that. So what is your kind of advice or struggles that you've had with balancing your school and then your like side hustles like YouTube and things of that nature?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. I've at this point I've cut out I've cut out video games. I've sacrificed a lot of things that I think are important to me, not video games, but for example, like hanging out with friends. Like I think I sacrificed that a bit because um, I value the opportunity that I have right now with content creation and YouTube. Um, so it's definitely hard just because there's so many hours in the day. Um, Physically, it can be demanding. I try to sleep by like 11, but last night I flew in from Denver from
Hmm.
a conference. I ended up sleeping at like 2 because I had to get my all my gear set up for this morning when I was filming my video, and I wanted to sleep in, but I had just like a lot of work to do today as well, so I had to like wake up at 5:30 and just I got like 4 hours of sleep or something like that.
Honestly.
Physically, it can be demanding, but it's all about priority. It comes down to what is it that you want in the long run, and what actions do you take now in order to achieve those. And
Mhm.
so, like health is important to me, but and sleep is really important to me as well. So I'm trying to get some of that back. But YouTube is also an extreme priority for me. With the traction that I've been fortunate enough to have right now, it's important for me to put out content and deliver. And so some opportunities, like you have to prioritize because they're only there for a certain amount of time. And
Mhm.
so for me, like all the balance, all that comes down to what are your priorities? If you really value the relationships, your friendships, all that, then yes, you're gonna make time to hang out with your friends. And it's not that I don't value that. It's just that right now I have like time sensitive opportunities that really demand my attention before I can focus on some of those peripherals.
Mhm. I saw that you had the opportunity to meet with Gary Vee.
Yeah.
So, first off, what was that like? Just kind of seeing him in person,
I was so
talking to him.
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I was literally sweating. Like I was like wiping my hands down because I was like getting really nervous. I watched like Gary's videos back in high school. He was really a positive influence on me.
Hmm.
A huge proponent of you're the average of the 5 people closest to you, and not necessarily physically. Just consuming someone's content can be a way to really impact your mindset and your
Oh.
actions. And so
Hmm.
so it was definitely um, nerve-wracking to meet someone that had
Yeah.
such a big experience impact on me. Um, but yeah, I basically went up to him. I thanked him for um, teaching me about reselling because that made me a good amount of money in high school and it gave me the
Hmm.
confidence and introduced me to entrepreneurship. And so really that's like the direction that my life is headed in. And so truly life changing. And then I asked him um, about judgment, and I asked him how do I stop judging people because I think I deem myself as a somewhat judgmental person. I'm ENFJ. I don't even know if the J stands for judgment. I think it does.
Hmm.
That's just like a personality type, and basically, I think it keeps me from um, developing some meaningful relationships because if you judge someone, I think, if you judge someone, you're like, oh, I don't want to talk to them or whatever. It could really keep you from meeting some interesting people and like people that you can develop meaningful relationships with. So I asked him about that, and he basically, um, I guess the context that I asked it in was I was in college and I have friends who aren't necessarily as ambitious or they
Hmm.
prioritize things like entertainment. Maybe playing
Yeah.
games is their form of entertainment, and that's just one of their priorities. So I asked them like, how do I not judge them, and how do I not judge them when the law of averages applies, and you're the average of the 5 people closest to you. So he basically told me like, yeah, not everyone will want to make $1 million a year or be super successful. They're happy making $30,000 a year, living on the beach, surfing every day, and that's just their thing. And um, I think when it comes to people who are achievement oriented, that can be hard to understand. But he basically was like, yeah, there are people like that, and you just have to, if you don't want to be around them as much because they affect your mindset, then spend less time with them and spend more time with people who are aligned with your priorities. But that doesn't mean you have to cut them off. And that's
Hmm.
basically what advice he gave me. And it's not that I consciously apply it to my daily life, but I think it was just interesting to receive that perspective. Gary Vee he always knows like a good way to think about things and
Hmm.
the
Yeah,
perspective.
interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thinking what else? Let's see.
You want to tell me a little bit about yourself? Like, are you playing
Yeah,
right now, or
sure. So right now, school-wise, I'm still in high school,
well, what year?
but sophomore, 10th grade.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So I'm taking courses at a local community college for the most part.
Hmm.
And so sometimes it takes up a lot of time. Other times it frees up a lot of time. So whereas most of my friends are in school right now, I have the whole winter semester off. So I have the whole month of January off. So it leaves me time to focus on my kind of personal ventures, which are kind of like photography. I got into videography as well.
Or
So I got into photography about a year ago. I've only recently on my Instagram started posting like um, photos of that I've taken like with my DSLR, like portraits and things of that nature. In terms of videography, I have I've done a lot of like failed attempts or videos that I just never ended up uploading.
sure.
It's like I go camping all the time with Boy Scouts. We go on like crazy adventures, like hiking 50 miles. We were just camping at a lake this weekend, and I decided to like take the camera along for once I brought my DSLR instead of using my phone, and it was definitely like a higher quality video than what I'm used to. And I was just editing it earlier today. It looks like I might actually post it for once.
Yeah,
And it was interesting because we were taking photos with like this glow up perch mask. Like it was like blue and it like glows up.
that's super
We were
cool.
taking photos around 12 in the night.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the police came because they were like wondering what we're doing with a glow up perch mask at 12 in the night.
yeah,
My friend was holding a camera, the other friend was posing with the mask. I had to go and talk to him. He was really nice. He was really nice, luckily. But
yeah,
yeah, I got some good videos and some good photos from that trip that I'm gonna be hopefully posting to YouTube for once.
yeah. That's cool, dude. I would say like something that used to hold me back. Like, why didn't I post on YouTube like a few years ago when all my photographer friends were making videos? The reason is I am such a perfectionist.
Yeah, that
That
was my issue too.
yeah, that like when you're putting out something as invested as a video, you want to make sure that it's good. Um,
hmm
but I will say like I don't know who says this, but perfection is the enemy of progress. That's so true. Like you have you have to fail in order to succeed. That's such a cliche. But like let's say with videos, like your first video is not going to be a Sam Colder like
Yeah,
amazing,
for sure.
right? Like it's literally if you said like your first film is going to be like that, it's impossible. Everyone knows that. It's literally
Yeah.
yeah. And so it takes multiple attempts and really, if you are perfecting everything, a lot of times that prevents action. And so I think
hmm
that was a huge barrier that I had to get over. Not all my videos are going to be perfect, but sometimes just being good enough is good because that means you're at least taking action and going through all the steps that you need to take in order to actually end up where you want to end up. So that's like something
hmm
I constantly battle as like a creator, but I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my like really close friends recently. Like I was telling him about how I really wanted to record something at this camp out and actually post it for once. And he told me basically to forget about doing it as kind of a business and because it's videography, right? Telling a story. He said to create something you can look back upon. And I think that really helped me because I was looking through my old videos. I started when I was like in 2016. So squeaker voice, it was just insane. I was watching it and it was just like like I was cringing so hard. But at the
Yeah,
same time, it's like a feeling of nostalgia. Because like at the time I was using Windows Movie Maker, iMovie, and not like Premiere and After Effects,
yeah.
shooting on my like Logitech webcam instead of on my DSLR. So it was
Absolutely.
like it was an interesting experience to look at those. I mean,
Yeah,
now if you go on my channel, there was definitely nothing up there. Like all the videos had been privated
sure.
until maybe out of this one. But yeah, I think just kind of repurposing my mind to what I'm recording, why I'm recording, just kind
Yeah,
of helped start editing this video for sure.
yeah. And think about like when you're an amazing, like when you're top of the game videographer that you're super proud of, like to look back and like see those videos, it's
Yeah, for
gonna be
sure.
super powerful because it's inspiring to see that. Like, imagine if Jeff Bezos vlogged when he left his Wall Street company to go start Amazon. You know,
hmm
like that that video would have millions and millions of views. Why? Because that's
hmm
like we just see Jeff now when he's built this billion-dollar company that is
Yeah.
number one. Like it's it would be so inspiring to see that type of progress, and I think documenting that journey is super powerful just because when you have the confidence to know that you're going to be somewhere in life to record that whole process can be really inspiring for others.
Yeah. So I see we're running out of time here. So just wanted to kind of ask you to give the few people that will end up watching this, most of them Like just for the few people that are watching this, what kind of advice do you have for them and for me for kind of balancing life, finding your purpose, things of that nature?
Yeah. Um, I definitely think that let's start off with like finding your purpose. I think that is an evolving journey, and it comes from trying new things and getting outside of your comfort zone. And it's such a cliche, like, oh, you grow when you're outside of your comfort zone, but it really is true. If you live your whole life just comfortable, you're never going to explore new things. Or unless I guess if you're comfortable with doing that. But generally speaking, people aren't super receptive to change. And
For sure.
like let's say like I never picked up a camera, right? Like, how was I supposed to know that I enjoyed taking photos if I've never taken a photo in my life, right?
Hmm.
And so it's super important to try different things. That being said, if you think like I will say this, in high school, I thought I was going to be a photographer. Like I was like, this is my passion. This is what I want to do, and I pursued it. I pursued it heavily. That being said, I didn't put off school or anything. It's
Hmm.
important to have those backup options. I think it's not necessarily good to like just drop everything and run, especially if you've only been doing it for a little bit. But that being said, like photography has delved into videography for me, and like right now, I think I'll be doing videography for a very long time. But maybe that evolves into something else, right? And so
Yeah, for sure.
it's really it's so interesting to look back, like you said, hindsight 2020, like so interesting to look back and see how my journey has crafted my own uh, where I am today.
Hmm.
So true, like just try different things. Like your journey will carve itself out just in
Hmm.
the process of you trying different things. And so I think you don't have to have everything figured out when you're young. I still don't have everything figured out. People ask me like like how do you have everything figured out? Like I don't have my life figured
Hmm.
out, and it's um, a lot of older folks also don't have their life figured out. But that's just life, and you just go through it, trying different things, stepping outside of your comfort zone, and yeah, just pursuing what you're passionate about.
Definitely something to think about. So yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the first episode of the podcast.
Yeah,
It's been
thank you so much
very
for
interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
it's been really interesting talking to you after watching videos. Yeah, I don't think even if I do continue to do this, I don't think I'm ever gonna get over the feeling of having a conversation with someone you actively watch on YouTube. So, but yeah, it's thanks for coming on, and if I continue this, I hope to see you guys all in my next episode.
absolutely. Keep up with this podcast, guys.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.